While there was once thought to be no market out there for Josh Giddey in the open market, Jake Fisher throws a little water on that and says that the Golden State Warriors are interested in a sign and trade possibly for Josh Giddey. Is this rumor to be believed? We're going to talk about it all and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. I'm Hayes, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bear Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And no Pat the designer today, unfortunately. I don't know where Pat is. If anybody has seen him, let him know he's missing out on the show. But today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Let's get into it. So yesterday, Jake Fisher was live on Bleacher Report, and he talked about Josh Giddey's situation with the Chicago Bulls and mentioned something that we had not heard up until that point. He mentioned that not only are 4 teams and have reached out in regards to a Josh Giddey sign and trade, but one of those teams being the Golden State Warriors. Now, this makes some sense when you remember the fact that the Golden State Warriors were a team that were expected to actually draft Josh Giddey. Now, that was still while the Golden State Warriors were in the midst of their 2 timeline era, where they still had Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody. I even think Wiseman was still there. And so them looking around Josh Giddey at that point, considering that while they still had Steph and Clay and those guys, they were already kind of thinking about the next phase of that team. And they thought at that point in time, they had been drafting to get the next phase of that team. And so, so it makes some sense that the Warriors have always been a team that's been interested in Josh Giddey. And so now, reportedly, according to Jake Fisher, that they have reached out to Josh Giddey and his agent about potential signing trades. It kind of makes sense. We see that around the NBA. AK is a GM that does that himself as far as kind of circles back around the players that he once had some interest in, after things may have failed or fallen apart. And so hearing that is not surprising. That's not the surprising part about any of this. Jake Fisher goes on to also say that as many as 3 Eastern Conference teams have also reached out to Josh Giddey in a potential signing trade. Now, I want to separate this because I think this is important to separate. The Jake L. Fisher report is not saying that teams are in on Josh Giddey at $30 million, though. They're still not saying that. Now, he didn't say that they weren't either, but I've already seen some improper aggregation in regard to Jake Fisher's report about, team that maybe now teams are in at the $30 million. Still not reportedly in at the $30 million. So I want to be clear there. I want to lay that out. The question now becomes about if it's not the $30 million, how much are they willing to give up in a signing trade as far as money, a contract for Josh Giddey, and how much now can Josh Giddey and his agent use that as leverage against the Chicago Bulls? In the same report, Jake Fisher did say that AK and Eversley have turned away any trade calls on Josh Giddey, that they still do see Josh Giddey as part of the long-term future there. All the talk about him being a foundational piece is all still true, all those type of things. And that's what you have to now look at, right? Now, this could very well be Josh Giddey and his agent floating out some stuff. I'm not saying that maybe the Warriors haven't called. I'm not saying that maybe for all we know, a team's GM could have called Josh Giddey's agent like, hey, will Josh Giddey come play for the Brooklyn Nets for $12 million? That's all. It could be something like that. And when you're in this place where you've been negotiating for over a month, the last time we heard that the Bulls and Josh Giddey could agree on something, they said by the end of August, so it could go another month. And so maybe this is now kind of to just light a fire under the Bulls and just let's get this deal done so we can all move on and we can start planning and preparing for our off seasons. That's very likely a huge proponent in all of this, and I want to be clear there. But for the interest of, let's just say, let's have this conversation from the place that this is a legitimate report, that this is legitimately teams. And keep in mind, the Golden State Warriors are $25 million beneath the first tax apron. So it's not like they don't have space to get Josh Giddey at the contract reportedly that the Bulls are offering. They do. Signing trades are different than offer sheets. I've already seen, people ask about the offer sheet and confusing this, saying, well, if the Warriors can only offer him $25 million, the Bulls would just match that. It's not an offer sheet. It's a sign and trade. And so that's a little bit. Now the Bulls can go and they can say, well, hey, let's not do the sign and trade. We'll just give you the same $25 million that the Warriors are reportedly going to get you. They could still do that, but it's a different kind of leverage when it comes down to that. The question that you have to ask yourself is, what would the Warriors give up? The most common thought process is Jonathan Kuminga. You do a double sign and trade, Jonathan Kuminga for Josh Giddey. Reportedly the Bulls are interested in Kuminga. You move Coby back to the 1. You play Kevin Huerter or Isaac Okoro or Ayo Dosunmu at the 2. You move in Jonathan Kuminga to the 3. You have Kuminga, Maurice, and you go forward there. So, I mean, there's a route in which, according to when you start combining rumors and things from different parts of the offseason, you can start seeing how some of this could come together. I still personally don't think it's likely. I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense. This makes more sense as a leverage move to me personally, but we'll see. And if it's truly 4 teams that are interested, I want to keep saying if, because all reports, and again, there's nothing against Jake Fisher. All scoopers are more wrong than they are right. It just comes with the territory. But if this thing is true, and 4 teams have reached out on, we don't know when the calls were made. Were they made early in the offseason? Were they made recently? If this is something that is recent, assuming that is recent and that is true, I do think that gives Josh Giddey a monochrome of extra leverage against the Chicago Bulls. I'm not saying that all of a sudden now Josh Giddey gets whatever he wants. I'm just saying that it may give more leverage than what he had initially before, whereas the Bulls are offering reportedly between 20 and 22 million. Maybe now you can get that up to 24, 25 million. Maybe that's the case. And for a player that's already coming down quite a bit off what their initial ask was, maybe that's enough to kind of meet in the middle. And that's all I can say on this. I don't think this is drastically going to change anything. If it does, if we do hear a Josh Giddey deal announced sooner rather than later, maybe the rumors, it would make me believe that the rumors were more true than not. And okay, cool. Like, I mean, anything that leads to a resolution of this at this point with where you are right now, I don't want it. I'm tired of how close this is getting to training camp opening. Want this to get done, want this to get settled, and I want the sides to be able to move on with what the deal and start planning for whatever the next phase is. Whether Josh Giddey is already planning and saying, hey, 3 years, I'm up out of here. Or the Bulls are saying, hey, this gives us this amount of time to get ready for a Josh Giddey extension after whatever he does next. Whatever that is, I don't care. I just want it done. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of it not being able to focus on basketball. And for what it's worth, it seems like everybody around the Bulls are ready to just play basketball. We got Maurice Buzelis workout videos dropping out the wazoo. We got Ayo Dosunmu getting cleared for 5-on-5. We got Coby and Maurice being used to announce the new jerseys. I'm just ready for some basketball, y'all. I'm more ready for football, but I'm ready for some basketball. And this whole contract negotiation and saga and standoff, whatever you want to call it, has just gone too long. It's just too long. We are too far into this. I did not expect us to be talking about this in August. It's August. It's August 8th. We'll be in the middle of August in just a few days. Not what I expected to happen at this point in time. It's not what I expected to happen. So, at the end of the day, I just hope that you can get this done, over with, and we can get this moving on. Mike G says Giddey fits better on the Warriors roster and Kuminga fits better. That's not true. Kuminga doesn't fit this Bulls roster at all. You have another on-ball player who's not good defensively, who needs the ball in their hands. You're basically recreating DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine with Coby White and Jonathan Kuminga. And then as far as Josh Giddey on the Warriors, I don't think it's about the fit now. I think it's about the next phase for the Warriors in these next 2 years after Dre, Jimmy, and Steph are gone, because Dre still does a lot of the playmaking there for the Golden State Warriors. And so you'd be taking the ball out of the hands. Now, Josh Giddey's probably is he coming off the bench? Are you moving? Are you playing him at the 2? I don't think it's as seamless as a fit as what you're making it out to be personally. That's just my personal opinion. Let's say we're able to get Giddey for $22 million. We still have some space below the tax, right? Can we swing for a Kuminga sign? We don't have that much space under the cap. So no, Kuminga sign and trade is probably not happening. We got space under the cap. We got more space next season than what we do this season. But I don't think we have enough space for Jonathan Kuminga sign and trade, considering Kuminga is also off asking for more than 30. So for example, right now, the Chicago Bulls have They have about $43 million under the first tax apron. So Josh Giddey signing for $22 million, leaves 21. That's reportedly $9 million less than Kuminga wants. I think the Warriors match that deal if we were to try to get that done. What's up, Al? One of the what? Yeah, there's one in my bathroom on the counter. Y'all podcast nephews always need something. But with that said, we'll continue this conversation. Let's move on to the next topic. We're going to be talking about Coby White. Apparently, I've already put out feelers that he wants more than $30 million. That came in the same Jake Fisher report. But first, we got to get to a message from Open Phone. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had an urgent need, maybe for a plumber or a service provider. If the first person didn't answer, did you wait? Probably not. You moved on. That's why you need Open Phone. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your customer communications, all from an app on your phone or computer. Open Phone lets me manage business calls and text from a single app. The shared inbox feature is a game changer. Your team can jump into any conversation instantly without missing a beat. And their AI agent handles all after-hours calls, answers common questions, and captures leads so you never miss a customer. Open Phone is offering our listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's OPENPHONE.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you have existing numbers with another service, Open Phone would port them over at no extra charge. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Bulls fans, let's move into the next part of Jake Fisher's reporting, which went down yesterday, and that was that Coby White reportedly is already making it known that he is going to be asking for more than $30 million in free agency next year. Now, as like with Josh Giddey, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get it, but there are a few key differences between Coby's situation and Josh Giddey's situation, and I want to lay that out there because I already know Bulls fans were reactionary. There are already people typing, worrying about what's going to happen. And Coby has more of a leg on for a couple of different reasons. First one is that he's been here. He's a internal player. He was born and bred here. Like as far as since he came into the NBA, we know he's from North Carolina, but like he is a player that was drafted here in Chicago. And so that already you have more. Like while the Bulls could say we need a larger sample size from Josh Giddey, Coby White has been here, averaged over 20 points per game last season, over 19 the season before that. He has one more year left before they need to negotiate. If Coby puts in between 20 and 25 points per game next year, that's another huge leg to stand on, right? So that's what Coby has, period, point blank. Then on top of that, the fact of the matter is scorers get paid. You look at, and Coby could have not only the same leverage that Josh Giddey tried to use, but he has more of it. Emmanuel Quickly's contract. Coby White's a better player than Emmanuel Quickly. Jalen Suggs, not saying Coby's necessarily he's definitely not the two-way player, the defender that Jalen Suggs is, but he's much better offensively than Jalen Suggs. You want to use that deal, he can use that. And I think that we're starting to see an era where most starters that are free agents and veteran starters who have been in the league are going to start asking for that $30 million evaluation. Mikal Bridges got $37 million. Now, again, more history of being a two-way player, but he's never been an all-star, never been an all-NBA player. He got $37 million. If that's truly what Coby and his agency are aiming for, more than $30 million to start off with, there's a conversation to be made there. Now, the question is that are the Bulls going to do a similar situation where they're going to try to get Coby for less? And here's what I'm going to tell you. They can't use the same hardline tactics that they use with Josh Giddey with Coby White. He's an unrestricted free agent. And if Coby White has another season averaging over 20 points per game, somebody's going to throw money at him. And if you look at it in nothing else than this, the fact of the matter is this. There are a lot of teams that have set their money up to have big cap space in the summer of 2026. A lot of teams. And those teams, some of those teams are going to strike out on their main targets. And as we've seen that happens before, if you have a target of, I don't even at the top of my head right now, James Harden is one of the free agents. I'm going to use his name. If you have a target in James Harden, you strike out on that target, and you have already sold your fan base on we're about to make a big move this offseason, best believe there are going to be teams that pivot to Coby White. Still fairly young, 26 years old. So you still sign him into what would be the prime of his career. It's going to be teams that are going to come knocking at the door of Coby White. Again, unrestricted free agent, more of a sample size, and a score. Those three things get you paid in the NBA. So the Bulls have to ask themselves, and this was a question that we have been talking about for a while, is that are you ready to invest that much in your backcourt? What do you have to see in your backcourt to feel like you're ready to invest close to $60 million in a backcourt that, at least up until this point, hasn't made the playoffs, has none of them have been on an all-star team, no all NBA appearances yet? I'm just saying. So I think that when you look at that, that's what you have to evaluate when it comes down to this. That's what you have to evaluate when it comes down to this. And we'll see what happens there. We will see what happens. Like Coby White we knew that he was going to ask for a lot of money. And the main reason we knew that is because if he wasn't going to ask for close to $30 million, he could just sign the contract extension. The fact that he's not signing the contract extension is part of that. I want to get into this one because I said Chicago Bulls Nation is the quickly and Suggs compare. First of all, it's not a comparison. It's a contract. It's a standard. But the reason why is because they're guards. Secondly, Jabari Smith isn't a good contract to use because, A, he hasn't been a starter. They've brought him along slowly. It's not like he's played a bunch of minutes. That's not really a good comparison either. That's more of a comparison maybe if you were talking about like Noah or Modest coming up for a contract extension and they were coming off the bench. But it's not for Coby and Josh Giddey as guards, first and foremost. Secondly, as engines of your offense, which Jabari Smith has not been up until this point, it's not really a comparison to Jabari Smith. Not really at all. I think that's the furthest way that you can get to a comparison. Jabari Smith maybe would have been more of a comparison if you were trying to do Coby White. But keep in mind, Jabari still has one more year left on his rookie scale deal. That his deal doesn't even kick in 2026-27. And I guarantee you, had they been negotiating now, he'd be closer to $30 million. Holding salary to match when players are available is part of having a lot of guys signed. I must have missed the part where we're at with this. 100% Giddey signs 1 year balls. He's not going to sign. That's not 100%. Peter Nutt, you are a nut for thinking that that's 100%. Like I'm going to let you know right now. If you think that that's 100% possibility, your last name isn't a nut. Your brain is a nut. I'm just going to be 100% honest with you. And I've now said nut too much that I'm comfortable for on a Locked On podcast. But with that said, to get back into the Coby thing. So, I mean, this is also something that the Bulls, if they are finally starting to look at and plan out things that they do have to evaluate, is that how much are you willing to put into a backcourt that hasn't accomplished talented? I want to be clear. This is not a knock on the talent of Josh Giddey or the talent of Coby White or anything. They have talent. They are NBA caliber players. But in the realization of that talent, you haven't seen a whole lot yet as far as success rate. And I think that's the thing. Now, that's not all on Josh Giddey and Coby White while the Bulls haven't had a bunch of success. A lot of that goes into some other things. But, we shall see what happens. We shall see what happens. Yeah, we can have a bet. Just make sure you come here when Josh Giddey's deal is announced, and all I need you to say is, I am Peter Nutt, and I am actually an idiot. That's all I need you to say. Because there's zero chance, that Josh Giddey's going to take the 1 year qualifying offer and play and ball out. If that was going to happen, it would have happened by now. So, yeah, just say that. Name, I accept any terms that you got because it's not going to happen. But with that, the Stallion is Sub-Zero all the way. Listen, I like what we saw from Josh Giddey and Coby White to end the season, right? In the season. Peter, he is not stating. You need to understand the difference between somebody stating something and rumors. Find me an article that is quoted by Josh Giddey where Josh Giddey said that. Find me that. Put that in the chat. Find me that. Understand the difference between, I've been doing this too long. Understand the difference between rumors and actually somebody saying something. That's the first thing you need to understand. But with that said, Coby White and Josh Giddey are very talented backcourt. And I like how they really learn to play off each other. Josh Giddey became a 38% catch and shoot three-point shooter playing with Coby. I don't think he would have done that playing elsewhere because he had to learn to play with the gravity of Coby White. And I think that's a good thing to happen there. So, we'll see how this backcourt continues to develop, and we'll see what the Bulls end up doing here. But it is something interesting to watch and monitor, and we'll see what happens. All right, we got to get into a break. We're going to talk about FanDuel, but we're going to talk about Billy Donovan and his Hall of Fame induction. But first, we got to get to a message from FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, should say football, but nonetheless, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like much-watch events. Whether I'm placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet right into the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I'm part of the action. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. So still make a smart bet. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Bulls fans, we're wrapping this thing on up, man. With that said, last topic of the day, Billy Donovan is getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, and we now know the legends that are going to honor Billy Donovan as he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. Keep in mind, Billy Donovan, as much as we have problems with him as an NBA head coach, he is one of the most storied collegiate coaches that you'll ever find. He had a tons amount of success, and that's a big part of why he's getting in it. Well, it was announced today that Rick Pitino and Maurice Cheeks will serve as presenters for Billy Donovan at his Hall of Fame induction. Keep in mind, Mo Cheeks was an assistant here under Billy Donovan since he basically started up until last season. Him and Billy Donovan's friendship goes back decades that they've been friends. And Rick Pitino is a legend in college basketball as well. Didn't have very much success as the NBA level, but he is an absolute legend with college basketball. So those are going to be the names that are inducting Billy Donovan into the Hall of Fame. Keep in mind, Rick Pitino and Billy Donovan, they go back to the 80s at Providence. They were both guards, I think, at Providence. Rick Pitino coached Billy Donovan at Providence, where he was a guard. And so that's just, hey, that's great relationships to have. I know and I understand the valid reasons why Bulls fans have a lot of problems with Billy Donovan, but this is still an honor that Billy Donovan has earned with what he did in college. And, and to that point, like a lot of college coaches don't have great success in the NBA, but Billy Donovan still does definitely deserve to get honored. And, making the Hall of Fame is a huge accomplishment for Billy Donovan. I wish he does more here at the Chicago Bulls, but we shall see what the future holds there. But, shout out for Billy Donovan for getting into the Hall of Fame. He's going to be inducted by his friends. He's going to be inducted by a mentor in Rick Pitino, and he's going to be honored. And as once the Basketball Hall of Fame happens this upcoming year, we're also going to honor Billy Donovan to a degree. The Bulls are going to roll out the red carpet. You already know they're definitely going to go ahead and get that. And, we'll see what happens in the long run with Billy Donovan. But shout out to Billy Donovan. And it is what it is. Chicago Bulls Nation says, I honestly believe Billy Donovan is not a big fan of Giddey, and that is the holdup in this contract negotiation. I don't agree with that. I actually think Billy Donovan really likes. Keep in mind, Billy Donovan always looks better as a coach when he has a point guard that can operate his system at a high level. Josh Giddey did that. So I don't know if I believe that. You're completely entitled. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't know. I ain't talked to the man, so I don't know anything more than what you do. But I'm just saying that I don't get that feeling personally. But I guess you never know, right? Maybe it's be one of those things that we find out 10 years down the road that's like, hey, Billy Donovan really didn't care for Josh Giddey. Maybe we find that out. I don't feel that, but, we'll see what happens when it comes down to that one. But with that said, man, we shall go ahead and get ready to wrap up the show. Thank you guys for tuning in, man. You guys are amazing. We can't stress enough how important you guys are to this channel. Make sure you guys also, we are doing a giveaway at Bulls Fest. You have to be going to Bulls Fest, though. You also have to be subscribed to the Windy City Breeze, Locked On Bulls, and Chicago Bulls Central. You shoot me a screenshot of you being subscribed to all 3 channels. You got to hit me either in the email or the DM. And once you do that, you're entered for a giveaway of Modest Buzelis merch. So we appreciate you guys for that one always as well. But that is the time for today. Make sure you guys stay tuned in. You guys can follow us at Locked On Bulls. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, and more. Make sure you guys are following us there. We'll be bright and early Monday morning. Locked On Bulls is available everywhere. And like I always like to say, anywhere you want us, you can get it. We'll see you guys on Monday morning, y'all. Peace.